Good morning, guys. Here we are, Science Bellwork, week 2, day 2, continuing to talk about how a thermos works. Yesterday we kind of went over conduction, which was a review from previous week in what we covered in class. We're talking about insulators today, so that should also be somewhat of a review for most of us. So follow along as I read through the passage. One way to slow down the transfer of heat between objects is to keep them separated. This stops heat transfer by conduction, which requires that objects physically touch each other for heat to flow from one to the other. A second way to slow conduction is by the use of insulators. Materials such as plastic, wood, and fabric are poor conductors of heat and therefore make good insulators. Air can work as an insulator as well. For example, styrofoam cups have tiny air pockets in the foam that keep heat from moving out or in. A thermos is basically a bottle inside a bottle that limits heat conduction in both ways, through the use of insulators and physical separation. The inner bottle, which is where you put your hot or cold drink, has little contact with the outside. The only places where heat can travel are through the thermos cap and at points where the inner and outer walls of the bottles meet. And to further reduce heat conduction, these parts of the thermos are made from insulators. So part A wants us to list the two ways a thermos bottle slows heat transfer by conduction. Well, that would be around this section of the second paragraph. Around here. So our first would be, let me scroll that down. It has an inner bottle that has little contact with the outer bottle. That'd be one. And then two, any place where the bottles touch is made from insulators. So there's your two ways. Part B, if you were designing a pot to cook spaghetti in, which parts would you make from good conductors of heat, and which parts would you make from insulators? Explain your answer. Well, you want the conduction part to be the part that's actually cooking the spaghetti, and the insulators to be like the handle, so that you could hold it without getting burned. I would make the pot from good conductors, so the spaghetti would cook, and the handle from insulators so you don't get burned. There you have it. Science Bellwork, week 2, day 2. Make sure you make corrections if you need to, and have a good day.